Hey ladies, welcome to episode 126 of the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast. Before we dive in, I just want to remind you that you still have an opportunity to sign up for my free workshop, How to Stop Overeating Without Going on Another Diet. I actually have 3 opportunities for you to join this workshop live. So if you head to healthcoachforlife.com/workshop, choose the best time for you. And you know what? Even if you can't make it live, you'll have access to the replay just by signing up. You might be wondering, is this workshop for me? Well, if you've tried diet after diet and you still feel like nothing works, maybe you even feel like a failure, or you want to really have this understanding and know why you overeat. If you feel stressed around food, about food, consumed with thoughts about food, or you just know diets don't work, but you just have no idea what does. Any and all of those are excellent examples of who this workshop is for. So if you found yourself nodding along saying, that's me, head into the show notes wherever you're listening to the podcast, healthcoachforlife.com/workshop, and sign up for whichever time and day works best for you. And like I said, can't be there? No problem. I'll send you the replay. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast. This is a podcast for women who are ready to ditch diets, ditch the scale, and food guilt forever, and instead invite peace with food, body trust, and confidence in all of your choices. This show will shed some light on sneaky ways diet culture has infiltrated your thoughts, your family, and your well-being. I believe that no matter the episode, you'll walk away feeling informed, inspired, and encouraged. I'm your host, Jennifer D'Amato. I'm a certified intuitive eating counselor, coach, a mom of 4 daughters, a lover of all things pink, and I can't wait to dive into each and every episode with you. Let's dive in now. Well, hey ladies, I am so glad to be sitting here recording this episode. I have to tell you, this has been like put off and put off. I started not feeling well. I had a set day for podcast recording, and I don't know if you can tell in my voice, like I'm still a little nasally, and here's hoping I don't have to stop in the middle of recording and, cough and cough and cough and then come back. But it is what it is. That's kind of where I am. So this podcast has been put off as far as the recording goes, but we are going to make it through because this topic is so important to me. Now, you might be new here, and the reason you tuned in is because of the title. When healthy eating isn't healthy anymore. I feel like this pretty much sums up what led me to intuitive eating. Everything I was doing was in the name of health. Every decision about food, every decision about what I drank, mostly water, only water, geez. And every single decision I made about exercise and movement, decisions about sleep, it was all in the name of health. And I was praised continuously. On a daily basis. That's not an exaggeration. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you'll get up at 3:30 in the morning to go work out. Wow, you're so committed. Oh my goodness. Wow, you eat so many greens. That's amazing. Wow, you have such willpower not to have anything with sugar. Oh my gosh, look at all the alternatives you make so you don't have to eat, cookies and ice cream. You can have healthy things. Praised continuously for my health choices. And of course, that went hand in hand with the praise for weight loss. It was so heavy and so thick. I actually never thought I was the kind of person who cared like that other people liked the way my body looked. Other than my husband didn't care. Or at least I thought I didn't care until, again, it was daily. And it was pretty much daily because I was at the gym 6 days a week. I was there constantly working out, 2 hours minimum. I actually had an Apple Watch, and I set the settings to a certain number of calories burned. And if I didn't hit it, I didn't leave. Everything I was doing was in the name of health. Everything I was doing, every choice that I made, appeared on the outside to be good for me. I wish sometimes this podcast just had like an air quote sound because the air quotes are going to come on strong. It wasn't until I started reading the book Intuitive Eating that I started questioning what I was doing and why I was doing it. So, chapter 3 of the book is titled, What Kind of Eater Are You? And of course, before I even read the chapter, I'm like, I'm a healthy eater. Like, look at me. I'm amazing. I have all this baby spinach, only lean proteins. I eat so many veggies. I was consuming so much protein, though, I cannot even begin to tell you how excessive it was. Again, all in the name of health. I'm a healthy eater. And then they described the careful, clean eater. Now, if you know me now and you aren't new to this podcast or me on social media, you know I don't like the word clean. I don't like this idea that you eat clean. I'm like, yeah, wash your veggies, folks. But it is a diet concept. But I want you to hear the description of a clean eater. Clean eaters are those who tend to be vigilant about what foods they put into their bodies. Careful clean eaters appear to be, quote, perfect eaters. They are highly nutrition conscious. Outwardly, they seem health and fitness oriented. These are things that are admired and reinforced in our society, like I had shared about my personal story. Careful clean eaters are poring over nutrition labels, taking extra long for grocery shopping trips because they're scrutinizing every ingredient, every piece of food that will enter their mouth. They have to know the nutrition content. Careful clean eaters, is defined by intuitive eating, spend most of their waking hours, planning out the next meal or even snack, worrying about what to eat. Careful clean eaters don't believe they're on a diet at all. And I would even say they are not officially following a diet plan necessarily. However, anything that falls in the unhealthy category, fats, sugars, there's going to be judgment, criticism, earn and burn mentality. There's going to be negative self-talk, things like food guilt and using food as punishment become a norm. I read this section. I'm in chapter 3. I'm like 30 pages into this book. And I can't believe how I'm relating to everything I'm reading. I wasn't the professional dieter anymore. I felt like I had left dieting altogether. I live a lifestyle now. And yet I had become obsessed. I had become unhealthy in my striving to be healthy. And again, I want to reiterate how reinforced and praised these habits and behaviors are. It was constant. And I'd like to think that it didn't have an effect. It was really just all about me. No, it was those words, those praise, like, wow, people really do value someone when they're in a smaller body. It contributed and kept me stuck in that place. I read Intuitive Eating years ago, and I felt like called out as soon as they described the careful eater. They also mention orthorexia. And I've talked about orthorexia a couple of times on this podcast already. It's something that feels very relatable. If you're not familiar with orthorexia, you can actually go read more of the specific definition on the NEDA website. So, NEDA is the National Eating Disorders website. It's nationaleatingdisorders.org, and you can look up orthorexia. Now, there's not a whole lot of research and studies yet, though I believe we're seeing more and more emerge because of how prevalent this obsessive health-related behaviors are becoming. And because they're so praised in our society, because people are constantly striving to be in the smallest body, we're going to hear more and more about orthorexia. It's not currently in the DSM-5 like other eating disorders, though it's definitely showing how it fits a lot of those same criteria, which is why when I have conversations with other individuals, other practitioners, I think we're all on the same page that we believe we're going to see in our time orthorexia actually make it into the DSM. Now, that's not a good thing. I'm not praising that. I mean, I'm happy that there would be more treatment options then if it's under that umbrella. However, we need to stop this before it keeps going. We need to recognize when healthy eating isn't healthy anymore. I wish I had this information, the intervention, the knowledge years and years ago. Because like any diet, which orthorexia is still restricting, the healthy eating, clean eating movement, all of this is still restricting if all foods are not available to you. And the backlash that I talked about in last week's episode will still happen. The diet, the restriction will still make you feel like a failure. Now, I'm going to be talking more about dieting 101, like understanding why diets fail in my free workshop. If you have not joined, head into the show notes like right now, click the link, pick the time. I'd love to have you there. The understanding for me is what catapulted me out of diet culture. Understanding why every single diet, even the lifestyle, y'all, air quotes, the lifestyle dieting, why it always will fail. It doesn't matter. It's been failing your whole life, yet you feel like the failure. And I know for myself, I felt like a failure when I couldn't keep it up anymore. Years of dedication, I felt like a failure. But I could no longer restrict because I had to keep restricting more and more and more, and my body could not take it. I was tired, I was sore, I was mentally and emotionally exhausted. My hair had thinned out, my face just looked sunken. I couldn't do it anymore. And I felt like a failure. But I will say, my silver lining is I picked up the intuitive eating book again. I had looked through it before with diet eyes, but I came to it and looked at it with a whole new perspective of I really need peace with food. It literally was a top line of this book, like peace with food. I don't have that. I am constantly seeking the healthiest thing I can do. I have no pleasure in eating. I can't get my head around the fact that I could eat other foods outside of what was on my plan. When I say that intuitive eating saved my life, I really do mean it. And maybe saved sounds extreme, but I'll tell you what, it gave me back my life. It gave me back my joy. I still value highly nutritious foods. I do. The beautiful part about intuitive eating is that nutrition is still highly valued. But first we need to do the work on what we think about ourselves, what we think about food, the rules that we've been following after years and years of dieting. We need to reconnect with our body. And for me, and for you listening, you may relate to this. Understanding why every diet failed, why I gained that weight back. That released me. I never, from that moment on, when I understood this, I never, ever even considered dieting again. I want to invite you into this workshop as a first step, as gaining the same understanding that I did. And then knowing what to do next. I had support. I had someone by my side. I already had all of this knowledge. I had gotten certified as a health coach, so I had the nutrition piece. I knew what it took to feel good, but I had no idea how good it would feel to be free. Now, there's the difference. I always tell the women in my private community that intuitive eating is your pathway to living in food freedom. And let me tell you, food freedom is a beautiful place to reside. We're definitely going to talk more about all of this in my free workshop. So head into the show notes or head to healthcoachforlife.com/workshop. Pick a day that works for you and a time. And like I said, don't worry. If you miss it, I'll send you the replay. I want you to have that same understanding and start your journey to food freedom with intuitive eating. All right, ladies, until next week.